guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have round 36 of Becca's Bookopoly. So we are still going to be doing things a little bit differently just for this month, but if you are unfamiliar with Bookopoly, if you've never seen it before, I will put a link to January's round up here so you can get acquainted with the board and the rules. However, there will be a new era of Bookopoly starting, I guess, again in January with a new board and all of that stuff. And as I've said, we're doing things a little bit differently this month. So if you're unfamiliar with Bookopoly, don't worry about it too much, but the full Bookopoly playlist will be down in my description box if you guys would like to check it out. So for those of you who know what's going on here and are all caught up, let's see how I did last month. Last month I decided that I was going to be taking things a little bit easier for the remainder of the year, and I decided that I would be rolling as I go and there was no set TBR at the beginning of the month. So instead of showing you the one book that I picked in last month's TBR and letting you know whether I've read it, I have the whole stack from all of the Bookopoly rolls that I actually managed to do in November. And if you want to see these happening in not real time, but like if you want to see the rolls as they happened, they were all present in my vlogs and formed like the structure of the vlogs that I did in November. But I did manage to get through 6 rolls in total. So we had Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb, which was a fantasy, Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World by Ashley Herring Blake, which was a contemporary, Nerve by Gian Ryan was a sci-fi, The Cousins by Karen M. McManus was other, Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson was a chance card pick, and Legendborn by Tracy Dion was selected via the Go space. So of course, as I was rolling as I went, I have read all of these books aside from Legendborn, which is the one that I'm currently reading. It was the last roll that I did, but I will not be taking a punishment for this month, and punishments are still a thing that can happen if I don't complete at least 5 rolls. And even though that may feel like I'm not taking the pressure off, which was the original intent, just being more free with my picks was enough in November that all pressure was relieved, and I had such a great time rolling throughout the month. So I am still going to be continuing to do that in December. So aside from rolling as I go, I do have a couple of other December plans. There are a few readathons going on. One I am already participating in. It ran from the beginning of November right through to December 27th, and that is the Clear Your Shit readathon. I forgot to mention this in my November TBR and I was so mad at myself, but this one is an RPG style quest readathon created by Andy over at Mouse Reads, and I will put their announcement video down in my description box. And it was also created by Art, who I don't think is on YouTube but is on Twitter under Ink and Plasma. I will put the readathon Twitter in my description box as well because that is where most of the information is. But there are a lot of prompts, so I'll tell you where I'm up to. At the time of filming this, I still anticipate at least finishing Legendborn and maybe getting 1, possibly 2 more books into this month. But of the 24 prompts available, I have so far completed 7. So I'm just going to continue through December completing the prompts in order as it's like a kind of narrative, and we'll see how far I get. But I can tell you for sure that I'm not going to complete the full 24 because I've got a long way to go. Aside from Clear Your Shit, which will be my main focus in terms of readathons, there are 2 week-long readathons that I am interested in participating in happening in the month of December. Now the first one is the Festive Readathon created by Steph over at Steph Loves. This one is running from the 6th to the 12th of December, and it has a bingo board that has a selection of prompts and also a couple of like festive Christmassy activities on it. I'm currently unsure about this one because I'm not much of a seasonal reader, and when I am, I'm definitely not like a Christmas seasonal reader. So some of these may be hard for me to fill, but when we get up to the start of the readathon, we'll see if it's possible for me to do. And the second one is the Sprintathon hosted by the lovely Pris Sprints. This one is running from the 16th to the 19th of December, I believe. And as you guys know, Pris is a read and sprint channel, so I think there's going to be at least 1 set of sprints every single day, and there is once again a selection of prompts and also a couple of activities, and I will be working out my TBR for that one a little bit closer to the time. But I think that is all you guys need to know, so let us crack on with our first and only roll in this video of December. So my last roll of November landed me on the Go space. First roll, 5, which is a book for a video project. So we landed on video project, which is actually really helpful because there is one more themed vlog that I would like to squeeze in before the end of the year, and it is also possibly going to be the start of a new vlog series. We'll see how it goes. But the one I'm going to be reading for this is Among Thieves by MJ Kuhn, which you can't see very well because it has a reflective jacket on, so I guess I'll hold it this way. But this one I think is an adult fantasy that follows a girl who is a blade, so like a mercenary, an assassin type of character, and she is on the run from the guild master of the city where she operates, and she has one mission standing between her and freedom. However, she cannot pull it off alone, so she teams up with a band of miscreants, thieves and smugglers called the Saints to help her pull off this job. Now, I've heard absolutely nobody talk about this, so I don't know what to expect, but you guys know that I love a good assassin, like morally grey anti-hero character type of story, so I'm hoping that it delivers on that, and also hoping maybe for a little bit of grimdark fantasy with this one as well. So that is my one Bookopoly book, but there are obviously other books that I'm going to be reading in the month of December. The first is my Inner Circle Patreon pick for December, but before we get into that, I do just want to briefly mention These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is my Inner Circle Patreon pick for November. At the time of filming this, I still have time to read this before the end of the month, and I intend to, but I just thought I would mention it here in case I don't manage to get to it. And this one is a young adult sci-fi about these two teenagers who are on this luxury space cruise liner that crashes onto a planet, and they have to survive together, and this one was Megan's pick. For December, still, I'm not pulling out the chunky books in here, and I know for a fact that there are at least two really big books in here, so maybe December will be a month. One of them I actually kind of want to read, so I wouldn't be mad if it came out. There's also some romance, some YA in here. It's a real mixed bag, but let's see what we're going to be reading in December. Let's go for this one. Oh, Ben, you've done me dirty. No, this is a chunky one, but it is not one of the ones that I wanted to read. Oh, Ben, why would you play me like this? I can't. So in the month of December, I am finally going to be continuing on with The Shadowhunters by Cassandra Clare. And listen, okay, I have very mixed feeling about the Shadowhunters world. I read The Mortal Instruments when I was 19, the entire series. I think I finished the series like the year that City of Heavenly Fire came out. So like I was up to date and everything. I absolutely loved it. It was shortly before I read Akatar, but at that point, The Mortal Instruments was my favorite series of all time because of that nostalgia. Like I will always be a massive Jace Wayland fangirl. I then read The Infernal Devices a couple of years later, and I don't love historical fiction, so I really liked the characters of Tessa, Jem and Will, but I didn't really like that series because I don't like historical fiction. I thought that the plot was pretty boring. At this point in 2021, my opinions on the Shadowhunter world is that Cassandra Clare just needs to stop. Like we don't need any more Shadowhunter books, which is weird for me to say because I love my extended universe. Like you could say the same about like Robin Hobb, Brandon Sanderson. These are all authors who are creating books in the same universe, and I absolutely love those. But for some reason with Cassandra Clare, I feel like it just feels to me like she's beating at a dead horse at this point. So I got all of the Dark Artifices. The more that we were getting Shadowhunter spin-offs, the less I wanted to read it. But I do like the Shadowhunters world. I don't know. There's just something about this world that I'm like, please just stop. Oh, I remember one of the things that really put me off continuing the Shadowhunters is that City of Heavenly Fire, which at that point was the final book in like my favorite series ever, was just setting up this series, and I was like, you just want us to keep buying more books. Like they're not complete projects, and like it's not this is a complete series. You can read this one. Like it's using the hype and the audience from the Mortal Instruments to make you continue reading the books, essentially, because you know that City of Heavenly Fire is going to sell, so you can like shoehorn in the beginning of this series in there, which yes, may be a good marketing tactic, but gimmicky in my opinion. This has turned into like a big Cassandra Clare rant. So I've heard that the Dark Artifices are actually really good. I'm willing to have this book change my mind and become a Shadowhunters fangirl again. Like there is definitely that possibility. I don't know which way this is gonna go. I could love it, I could hate it, but we are gonna see And thank you maybe to Ben for putting this on my TBR. At least if nothing else, it'll be over with, it'll be done, I'll have read it. I don't know what this is about, apart from that it's about the children at the end of City of Heavenly Fire. So it's set after the Mortal Instruments, when they've reconciled all of that big plot stuff. And we're going forward with Julian and Emma. Is there anyone else? Julian and Emma and Mark are mentioned in the synopsis. So there's just one more book that I want to concretely add to this TBR, which is The Actual Star by Monica Byrne. This one is an adult sci-fi story that is set over thousands of years, and I think we're following 3 reincarnated souls, and it flip-flops backwards and forwards between time. Now I do like time stories, even though they hurt my brain, but I'm real excited for this one because it has reincarnation as well. So time travel and reincarnation are 2 sci-fi tropes, elements, themes that I like in concept, but I haven't read that many books that feature them, so I'm really excited to get to this one as well. But she is chunky. This one is, oh wow, this has like a really thick glossary too. It's 576 pages and it has a thick glossary, which I cannot lie is intimidating, but I do know that this has historical and cultural references. It has a lot to do with the cave in a Belizean jungle. It starts off, I think, like the earliest timeline surrounds an ancient Mayan kingdom, and then on the other side of that we have a futuristic utopia, I think, on the brink of war. So a whole ton of elements. I'm not surprised that it has a thick glossary, especially as from the glossary it seems like there is a mix of like ancient Mayan terminology and futuristic like sci-fi kind of terminology, and then some of it is blended together, so it's like part ancient Mayan and part futuristic. So this one is going to be interesting, I'm sure. I'm just hoping that I don't struggle with it too much with how dense I anticipate it to be. So this is my December TBR. It only has a few books on it, but these 2 are very chunky. How big is Lady Midnight? Lady Midnight is 668 pages, so I have like 1,100 pages just in these 2 books. But as with last month, I can use all of these books to fulfill Bookopoly prompts, apart from Among Thieves, because that is already in for one. And then on top of all of these, I did also recently post my end of year TBR, which has all of my priority reads on. So essentially if I roll on spaces that correspond with any of those books, then I will be probably picking from those books on my end of year TBR, because those are all things like pre-orders that I didn't get to earlier in the year, pre-orders that I'm still waiting to receive that are coming out at the end of November, and also like end of series and all of that stuff. So if you want more insight into what I may be picking up, then maybe check out that video and keep your eyes peeled for the vlogs that I'm going to be posting this month. 1, so that you can find out what that video project is that I'm going to be doing, and 2, so that you guys can find out what my roles are for the rest of the month. So that is it, guys. That is my December TBR, my final TBR with this Bookopoly board, and also my final TBR of 2021. So I hope that you guys have a fabulous end to the year. Let me know down in the comments what your December reading plans are. Do you have anything interesting on your TBR? Are you just trying to read a whole ton of books before the end of the year so you can get your ducks in order for 2022? Because that's what I would really love to do. And of course, let me know if you've read any of the books on this TBR and what you guys thought of them. But aside from that, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those. And you will also find a link to my Bookish candle website, which is going to be closing on the 17th of December. So if you want any last minute Christmas orders, please get those in. But you will also find the Instagram for that, the Etsy for EU customers, and a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're a go when nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.